Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Bobby Moore Stand. I'm Gary, he's Chris, and let's start off with a somber topic. First of all, we'll talk about Oscar Fares, young Oscar Fares, the West Ham goalkeeper from Benfleet, 15 years old, who lost his fight, sadly, with cancer that he'd been fighting since August 2023. Absolutely terrible thing. I can only imagine what that family must be going through. So I want to just first of all send our thoughts and deepest condolences to Oscar's family for must be a truly terrible time. So, and let's on that sad note, let's move on and actually talk about the West Ham game tomorrow. So, with Bournemouth, we've got Bournemouth away tomorrow night. And the big question, you would have seen it on the thumbnail, is how long will it take Sullivan to act? Because he will act. It's just a matter of when. So, Chris, let's get your thoughts on that first of all.
Yeah, well, I've obviously kind of been away for the last week or so. Been reading a lot. I kind of feel that I don't see the axe coming anytime soon now, Gal. If I'm being honest with you, I just don't really see it happening for the time being. And I can well imagine that this may roll on into, although it's not that long, into the new year. I don't think he's here till the end of the season necessarily, but I don't know. I just can't see him. Just can't see him being axed at the moment. I can't. I really can't.
No.
How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm with you. I think it's just been the narrative changed last week. I think we all noticed, right? We had the sad news that with Antonio over last weekend. That seemed to take the wind out of everyone's sails, to be honest, because everyone was looking forward to seeing him going. We thought it was kind of inevitable, and then we somehow scraped a win against Wolves. It depends how you look at that game. I mean, I saw it as pretty lucky, to be honest.
Yeah,
they had 1.5 penalties that they could have had. They missed a sitter. We were nowhere near at our best. It was two really poor teams playing against each other. But I think if you look at the way David Sullivan, what he looks for out of a football manager, it's simply to keep us in the Premier League. And are we in danger of going down now? Well, probably not at the moment. 18 points, 9 points ahead of Wolves. There are some teams down there who look pretty hopeless. Yeah. And so I'm inclined to think that, same as you, Sullivan is definitely not going to rush into anything. I do think also that he wants to get as far into that transfer window in January as possible, and I think that's probably his primary concern. I just want to be, I just think I'm depressed about the whole thing, to be honest. I'm trying to find words to say it, but there's only one way to say it. I think the guy's not good enough and he needs to go. It's a matter of when he goes. And I think what we're going to see now is a lot of, this is just going to repeat itself throughout the season. It's going to be last chance saloon. He wins the game against the crap side. He lives to fight another day. Last chance saloon. He lives to fight another day. And that's exactly what happened with David Moyes last year.
Yeah.
He was bloody rubbish in the second half of the season, wasn't he? Absolutely awful. But Sullivan kept stringing us along and stringing Moyes along, to be fair. Nobody knew where they really stood. Nobody knew whether he was going or not.
Yeah.
But it was just, he's just doing the same again. Same old, same old. This is David Sullivan.
Do you think, Al, that if we would have lost to Wolves, that he would have lost his job?
I do, actually. I do. Yeah. I don't think there would have been anywhere for Sullivan to go after that, because 15 points, they would have been on 12. They would have only been a few points behind us, right? So there's definitely I think that definitely would have happened. But no, now I think I think, to my mind, I think we're going to get beat tomorrow, because I think Bournemouth at home are a real hard task. They've beat City, Spurs and Arsenal at their place. They've only lost one at home. Can't remember who that was against. But Chelsea. They lost to Chelsea at home. Yeah. So they've only lost one game at home to a decent side. All the others have been draws. They're not so good on the road, but they're very good in their own backyard. Yeah. And so we don't cope well with pace. We've got a glaring hole in our defence. And it can happen, actually. It's being called out even in the media now. Everyone knows it exists. our right hand side in defence that we can get strung on the counter against quite a fast team who
Yeah.
can get chances, and they're going to score goals. They're going to get chances. Right? There's absolutely certain it's going to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
talking about Bournemouth, what do you know about them?
Well, they're a really good team, Gal. I mean, to state the obvious, they're a good team. I've watched a bit of them this season, and I think, again, to add to your point that you just mentioned there about pace, obviously being a concern for us, they've got pace in abundance. If you look at their forward line, they've got Semenyo, who's got a ridiculous amount of pace. They've got Justin Kluivert. So I think Semenyo scored like 4 goals this season. Kluivert's got 5 goals. They've lost Tavernier, which actually is probably a bit of a plus for us because he's always a threat down the right-hand side. So I don't know whether, I think his name is Watara. He's an attacking player that can play on the left, right, through the middle. Again, someone with a load of pace as well. Right. So that would be a real concern for us. And then they've got the Brazilian lad up front, Evan Nilsson, who was someone that we were, of course, linked to as well. I think he's supposed to be like one of the rising stars in Brazil, who suddenly seems to have hit a decent bit of form recently. And he's very good in terms of his hold-up play, bringing some of those fast sort of wingers, attacking midfielders into play as well. So that's the kind of obvious concern, because obviously when you look at Semenyo or the likes of Wataro, or whether it's going to be someone else who's going to come in his place, I think they've got, who's the lad that they've got coming back now? Is it Tyler Adams? So I know he can play on the right as well. He's coming back. Yeah, that always concerns me. It does, but I think it's on that. So it will be on their left-hand side, and on their left-hand side, they've got they've got a lot of pace there. I mean, this Semenyo guy, he's decent. I think he came from like Bristol, if memory serves me correct, but he's done very well this season. He's progressed really well the last couple of seasons. Yeah. So I think that's what really concerns me, actually, is their pace. But it's not even just their pace, really, Gal, because even if you look for the middle, I mean, there's some players in that team that I actually really like, and I think they kind of go under the radar a little bit. So you've got people like Ryan Christie. He's a really competent midfielder, really competent midfielder as well. Someone that can spray the ball around, get stuck in, high energy, high intensity. So we're really going to have to be on it if we're going to get anything out of this game. But in truth, I just can't. I can't see us getting anything out of it, mate. I just can't. I want to be completely wrong. And it reminds me a little bit of when we were playing Newcastle, when we were playing Newcastle away, and none of us expected anything. So hopefully we can get a bit of a nice surprise and get something. But my head tells me it's not going to happen.
Somebody said it in the chat just now that he's here for the season, and I think he probably is. Unless something bad happens, I think he probably is. I don't think he's going to be here beyond the summer, because I think he's just been bloody awful, right? And I think we're just gonna stumble along. We're going to stumble along and just about do enough to stay up. I think we'll probably end up 14th or something like that. There are a lot of really poor teams in this league this year, and we're lucky. We're really lucky about that. But having said that, a lot of people know what our weaknesses are. And it's just whether they can take advantage of it or not. And Wolves last week, they knew what our weaknesses were, but they couldn't take their chances. I mean, they took one chance, but they couldn't take. They had they had basically an open goal in the first half. It was
I saw the highlights back, and and again, I read the reports. I spoke to my boy, and obviously spoke to you, spoke to a number of people that went to the game, and by all accounts, I think we were pretty bang average. We were bang average, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was one of those. It was a weird kind of game, right? You get it sometimes. What with regards to the whole Antonio situation, and the fact that it was obviously deemed a must-win game, which it was for us. Lopetegui's job was on the line, so it was a weird one. I mean, was it ever going to be a game where we would go out and have a really convincing win and a really convincing performance? That's debatable, because when there's so much pressure on these types of games, sometimes it ends up being a bit of a dire game, and it's just a scrappy 1-0 win or a 2-1 win like it was for us. So I'm not going to look too much into that game. It's the kind of games coming up, really. I'm going to be interested to see how we play, how we line up against these teams, how we, essentially what our kind of style of play is going to be like, because I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of resigned to the fact with Lopetegui now staying. And if that's the case, that, as is always the case, we get behind the manager, we get behind the team, and hopefully we can start getting good performances, because there's just not been enough this season.
Well, it's all we can hope for. I mean, we've got one cup left. We're both going up to Villa, aren't we? Yeah. Against my better judgment. You wore me down on that one.
Well, to be fair, you've got my away record at the moment is horrific. I mean, it's really bad. You've got a good away record at Villa, so I'm hoping
I've got an amazing away record at Villa. Really amazing. So, and you never know. I mean, looking for coincidences like we always are. We did beat Villa at home in the 1980 FA Cup run. Could we say we always beat Villa? Well, no, we can't because we didn't play them previously. I think it might have been maybe that's the last time we played them in the FA Cup. I don't know.
I think there's something else to factor in as well, though, Gal, is that Villa are still in the Champions League. So what's going to be their priority, right? It's going to be the Champions League and the Premier League. I wouldn't necessarily suggest that they're going to be really, really gunning for the FA Cup. So that might play into our hands a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll tinker with their team a little bit and play their second string. I mean, this is the thing, because if you look at Villa now, it seems as though John Duran is now their number one striker. He seems to be playing every week, whereas Ollie Watkins is now kind of coming in off the bench. So potentially, not that that's a good thing for us. I mean, either striker is going to be a threat to us. But I don't think Villa is necessary. I call it now. It's too far away for me to call it now. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be as much of a vital game for them as perhaps maybe we think it might be. I'm not saying it's vital for us, by the way, because I'd love for us to. I really want us to have a cup run. But I don't know. I don't know whether Villa are really going to go for that this year. I think that if that was us, put ourselves in Villa's shoes, Gal, what would you want West Ham to be doing? You'd want us to be having a proper go at it in the Champions League, resting players, making sure we've got a really strong, first.
Definitely. You can't attack every competition. I mean, they're sliding down the Premier League, aren't they? They're in about sixth or seventh, aren't they? Or sixth must be.
Well, they've been dropping. Yeah, I mean, they've been dropping down the league. I think what are they now?
Forest are in fourth, aren't they?
Well, they're sixth, but they will drop. They will drop actually because coincidentally, if Bournemouth beat us tomorrow, then they'll overtake Villa, won't they? They'll go into sixth place.
Yeah, they're in seventh at the moment on 24 points, right? So they're having a great season.
Well, it's incredible, really. I mean, this is a thing. You can't underestimate Bournemouth. Sometimes when you don't, because it's easy just to you focus on West Ham and you look at some of the other results, but sometimes when you look at the league table, you're like, bloody hell, Forest are fourth, Brentford seventh, Bournemouth eighth. Yeah. These teams are having great seasons, like unbelievable seasons. And I think Bournemouth, you cannot underestimate them. What they've got 7 wins out of 15 this season, 3 draws, 5 losses. Defensively, they're actually pretty decent. They haven't conceded a ton of goals, pretty much on par with most of the teams in and around them. They're a very, very good team. So I think, we're going to have our work cut out tomorrow night. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to sort out my shade because I'm a little bit teak at the moment for some reason. I don't know why. There we go.
It's giving you a bit of a tango. You're looking
a bit more normal. It's a bit more normal. Yeah, it must be all the sun we've had in Romford today.
It's either that or the fake sun or the sunbed you've been on, mate.
Either that or look, Monster Munch. Can of Monster. It's double Monster.
It's getting ridiculous, mate. It's getting ridiculous. I don't know what is with you and monsters, mate. But
Before we look at some of the comments that have come in, a bit of something that made me smile in a wicked way earlier. Did you hear Arsenal have got a new nickname for Deck?
Oh, go on. No, I don't know about this.
Decline Rice.
Oh, wow. Well, it wouldn't be far from the truth, though, would it? He's not been on it. He got subbed the other day, didn't he? Like the 65th minute. He doesn't seem to be playing the full 90s,
No, he's not. So, but that's it's the first I heard that today. But I did say when he went there, I said, what you had, Deck, at West Ham was unconditional love. We would have forgiven you for bloody anything. You have a couple of bad games, no problem. Carry on. We know how good you are. At Arsenal, you ain't getting that. Getting that. They're going to refer back to your price tag every time. So I wonder if he's sick of North London yet. I suspect he is.
This is the thing. You're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head with Declan Rice. I think it's the same with any of our players. As long as we can see them trying, even if they're form, and it's going to go down, right? They're never going to be in peak form. But we'd never ever turn on players like that. I don't think we would. Not unless it was consistently happening for a long period of time. As is the case with maybe like Paqueta, you could argue, because he's really not been on it this season in general. But Declan Rice, he could have had a few odd bad games here or there. We would never, ever be turning on the guy. Wouldn't do it.
It's good that they're throwing away another outside chance at a league title. He's going to have the same CV as when he got here, other than he would have played some games for Arsenal and played in the Champions League. Spurs are 3-0 up at Southampton, picking and choosing their games. Bloody hell, Spurs. Right, let's have a look at some of the comments. So, but it's nice to see Arsenal not winning the league. Gaz at 80 says, lose against Bournemouth and Brighton. I think he could be gone. I think he could be. There is a definite chance there, Gaza. I think for sure. While you're there, because it's a new platform we're using, so you might have noticed. I much prefer this. But while this is there, let's have a look at the fixtures. So we've got Bournemouth, Brighton, Southampton, Liverpool, City. So, fact is, I think we're going to lose tomorrow. Somebody said in the chat, I'm going to come to it, that Brighton have now lost 4 in a row. I didn't know that. So they're going to need to beat us.
They lost to Palace 3-1 today, didn't they, I think?
That is a terrible result. But then again, Palace have improved lately. They've got to grips with it again, haven't they?
They have. I mean, they're bridging the gap, aren't they? That's the thing, because they're right stuck down there into the bottom 3-4. So I think they're now starting to have a bit of a a bit of a run. So yeah, Brighton are definitely going to want to get something out of that game for sure.
Yeah. So that is, and then Southampton. So say for instance we draw at home to Brighton, we lose away to Bournemouth, and then we go and lose to Southampton on Boxing Day. I think it's game over then, don't you?
You would think so, but I can't.
We can't lose away to Southampton.
We can't be, mate. I mean, we really can't be, but we could do.
But we can't. We cannot lose away to Southampton. But then again, funny things happen on Boxing Day sometimes, don't they?
Well, it can do.
Beating Charlton 5-0 and over a kick from the edge of the box by Trevor Sinclair, you know?
Yeah.
Jason McMeekin says, Gary, Chris, we sorely need a striker. If we can't get one in the January transfer market, do we have any striking options in the under-21? They're not going to get a game. If you look at all the players in FB Ref in our squad, the only ones with 0 minutes so far are like 3 youth team players at the bottom. It's Moyes all over again.
But we do need a striker badly, though. I mean, we really do.
We do. No, you're right, Jason. You're right. Of course, we need a striker. We're going to get Callum Wilson on loan. Sorry about that. Sullivan desperate for Loppy to see out the season. Yeah, I think he is. I think he absolutely is, because he's he wants to be proven right in some way. The best thing for Sullivan would be if he keeps him and then he has a good end to the season, because then he can keep him for the following season as well, right? And, we never break a contract and all that crap. If he's serious about Potter, he needs to act fast so that rules Potter out.
Well, Potter's going to Wolves, I'm hearing there's a lot of noise about him going to Wolves now. So
yeah. And I watched a Wolves fan the other day saying he probably wouldn't go there because it's not in London. He wants to come to West Ham. We know that. And he'd even take a 6-month deal. We know that. Moyes would also take a 6-month deal. But anyway, Wolves are looking at Potter, Moyes, and that Max Allegri, who we know for a fact ain't ready until the summer. Right? So, let me just unfavourite these. I'm trying to work my way through this. And Southampton will be his last chance game. Yeah, that's what I think will happen. I think we'll actually get something from Southampton on Boxing Day, and it'll be out of the doghouse again. Brighton lost their 4th in a row. This was Adrian Whitfield that says that. So bound to bounce back against us as well. 2 defeats in a row. Not one of my cousins, Adrian Whitfield. Then back to the game to save him. Yes, absolutely. Wolf Central Gaming says we're going to become what Chelsea were like, getting a new manager every couple of months. Never going to happen under Sullivan, is it? I think that's a bit. I know that's supposed to be a bad thing, what you just said, but it can never happen under Sullivan. Funny, I've got a feeling we're beating Bournemouth. They have a crap ground, not many supporters, and a decent team. Yeah, but it's a little tiny. You've been there, right? It's a little tiny ground with the fans right on top of you. It ain't what you call hostile in any way, shape, or form. It's one of these friendly little grounds, right? There's nothing to fear about it at all. It ain't like they've got a raucous crowd or anything like that.
Yeah,
but it actually feels a lot smaller than Brentford. Another place I've been to. I think that's because it's a bit more expansive, Brentford. It's still a tiny ground.
It's not even about, at the end of the day, right? Bournemouth have got a very good record at home. So
very good.
Irrespective of the fact that they haven't, as you say, like a raucous crowd, what they do have is they've got a good team. Okay, forget about individuals. They've got a team, a very good team. So I think, forget about the
Obsidian Curse says here, everyone is a concern for our defence. I think that's right. Pace is a concern for our defence. And counter-attacks are a concern for our defence because we get caught out of position, we're wide open. Even our strikers could score against us, and I'm including Antonio in that. Yeah, I think they could. By the way, talking about our strikers, this is something that I found quite interesting that somebody said the other day around Fulkrug. Fulkrug, he's got to be playing in this game, or he's got to at least be on the bench and play some of this game, hasn't he? Because he is fit now. To all intents and purposes, he's fit now. And if he doesn't get a game, there's something else going on other than Fulkrug ain't fit.
Well, it doesn't make any sense to me because he obviously got some minutes. The Leicester game I went to, came on, scored, looked pretty decent for the short period of time he had. Then he doesn't get a look in, when we played against Wolves on Monday. That I don't understand because you're trying to bring the guy back up to fitness, right? How the hell is he not playing any minutes in that game against Wolves? I don't understand that. Don't get me wrong, I understand Ings coming on. I totally get that. But I don't understand why Fulkrug didn't. I just
No,
can't make any sense of that.
I don't either. What Randy Bergstaller says here, Callum Wilson is injured out for about 2 months. He'll
No,
be
I don't
back
mean
for
anything. We like signing
we'll
players.
sign it.
Yeah,
We'll sign him, Randy. We'll
yeah.
sign him, Randy. He'll come good eventually. Right. Next game I see us winning is City away. Well, Mark, that could happen the way they're going, right? As Razor says here, I think City affected by this corrupt FA and FIFA. And Man U looked really poor still under Amorim. Yeah, they did. Funny results this season. Only Chelsea looked good. Chelsea looked really consistent, don't
Yeah, they look very
Even Liverpool
decent.
are not as consistent as they were. Happy Sunday, gents. Question for the panel. Any strikers in the youth tower? We've had that one already, haven't we? I'm way behind. So, no, I don't think there are strikers that would get a game. There's way small vitality and much better for better Brentford ground. Much better than the Brentford ground. Yeah, it's a nice little ground. I've got to say, I don't like the Brentford ground. I think it looks like it's been knocked up in some, but it's like a DIY Meccano job, right? Even Brentford's old ground was better than Bournemouth's. Oh, way smaller than vitality. Is he saying the opposite to what I just said? Probably is. There you go. Sorry, Rosa. This is West Ham. We drop strikers when they score. Look at Ings. Absolutely. Yeah, he scores at Fulham. Doesn't get another start, does he? He has had another start since, but only because other people were not available. But Ings is obviously higher in the pecking order than Füllkrug, German international. He's still a German international. He's still that was a tough goal that he finished when he came on. He actually took decent reactions there, right? So I ain't gonna write him off just yet. I ain't gonna write him off just yet.
It's too early. I don't think he's going to start. I don't see him starting tomorrow, just purely because he didn't have any minutes against Wolves. It wouldn't make any sense that he does at all. I'd like it. I really do want to see him on the pitch though, but I would imagine they'll stick with Bowen up front. If I'm being honest, I can't see them changing it. Not for this one.
I do think as well that with Wolves going after Potter, if they get Potter, then I think that's the plan out the window for us because he's the manager that's accepted a deal with us, right? Not too bad. I think whatever happens against Bournemouth, if we lose, Loppy goes, mate. We've got to get the coach right if presented the opportunity. That's my hopes is around it. Yeah, it ain't going to happen though.
Yeah, exactly. Because let's say I don't see that happening. I actually can well imagine that Potter will go to Wolves because if Potter suddenly thinks like we do that ultimately Lopetegui is going to stay certainly beyond Christmas, which I think will be the case, then he's probably going to want. And if he really wants to get back into a job, what jobs are available in the Premier League? That realistically would want him. Well, Wolves would be the club, wouldn't they, right now? So I can see that one happening. And if he goes to Wolves, what options does that actually leave us with? It brings that shortlist down even shorter, doesn't it?
It does.
Let's forget about Mourinho. I mean, honestly, I've been saying this for a little while now, but I would be all in for Carrick, mate, and I'd be all in for Michael Carrick.
Totally, I'm totally with you because imagine I don't think there's anybody in this chat. Let me know if you are one of these odd marks, right? But you're not an odd mark. You're entitled to your opinion, but surely he would unify the fan base, Carrick. Everyone's got good memories of Carrick. He was a consummate professional, loyal, stayed with us in the Championship for a whole season, unlike Defoe, unlike Parker, who wanted out as soon as he could, right? He was loyal, never said a bad word about us. The first one, he came back to the Tony Card testimonial as well, didn't he? I think the one who didn't was the Liverpool defender, our old right back.
Howard Johnson.
Yeah, he didn't turn up. So he's never had a bad word to say, and he's actually done pretty well. He's in his third year at Borough. I think the first season he finished 4th in the playoffs. The second season he finished 8th, and last week when I checked, he was 5th or 6th this season. That shows that he must have changed the team a lot in that period of time. Players coming in, players going out. So it shows that he can actually manage the evolution of a squad and keep them competitive. So also you got to look at we've had a great result whenever we've gone with an ex-West Ham player as a manager. I said this the other day. Harry Redknapp was a good manager for us. Dodgy geezer, but a good manager. Billy Bonds was good when he got us promoted in the from the Championship up to the Premier League. He just wasn't very good in the Premier League. John Lyall, fantastic. Slaven Bilic had an amazing first season, didn't he? I mean, we've got a really good record. We've got a really good record with ex-West Ham players.
Yeah.
And we've got a really good record with British managers as well. So, like him or hate him, Moyes had a decent record over 4 years, for the first 2 years anyway. 2.5 years, I think we got out of him, of decent Premier League. Last 1.5 years was not so good. Nearly got us relegated twice. Well, once anyway. Allardyce, he just didn't get on with the fans, did he? He didn't get on with the fans. But the football results were actually pretty good. Yeah. In his last season, we were something like third or fourth at Christmas when Sullivan decided, well, you're going in the summer anyway, so I'm not going to spend any money. And he told Sam that he was going. All the players knew he was going, so they gave up and ended up finishing about 14th or 17th or something. It's ridiculous.
No, he done well that first half of the season, because I remember that was the year when we had the Afrasako and Valencia and all those guys, and he did a good job. But going back to the whole Carrick thing, mate, because it kind of annoyed me, because I saw a few comments the other day, people saying, "Oh, Carrick, he's not one of your own," and this, that, and the other. Yeah. Well, do you know what? People seem to have short memory scale, because he joined West Ham when he's 13 or 14 years of age, right?
What do you mean he's not one of our own? Well, he's as much one of our own as anyone else.
Yeah, listen, mate, I've said this. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. This is my point, right? So there was people saying, "Oh, you're one of your own. He's not one of your own," or whatever. And okay. So he spent the bulk of his career.
A West Ham fan said that.
Yeah. Because it clearly doesn't actually understand the background and the history behind it, because he joined West Ham he came from up north, came from Tyneside when he was like 13, 14. Yeah. Moved to London, lived in digs with all of the young youth players, right? So he's been there through the youth team from the age of 13, 14, made it to the first team. So he understands the concept of bringing youth through, right? Because he was one of them, okay? He was one of those guys. He played like in excess of 160 odd games for us. And that was, as you said, that was both in the Premier League, and he stuck with us for a season in the Championship. The only kind of blot on his CV, let's be honest, is the fact that he fucked with the Spurs. That's the only bit, right, that I think kind of annoyed people a bit about it. But
no gloating, though. No gloating. And Spurs were a stepping stone to get to Man United, basically.
Well, he was only there for a year. He was only there for a year, wasn't he? But I think that was the kind of thing that gutted me about Carrick. But aside from that, I like, he's a cultured football player. I think we were talking about this the other week in terms of managers that tend to be quite successful midfielder for some strange reason. Yeah. He was a fantastic midfielder. I think massively underrated as well. And again, I don't want to kind of blow, big him up too much, but I think he's exactly the type of manager that we'd need to come into West Ham, because he's someone that is young, has potential, came from the West Ham Academy, understands what it is like to play for West Ham. Yeah. So why not?
No, I agree. And when you're talking about Iraola, there's really, he would be the number one choice, obviously, I think, of every West Ham fan. But I'm just saying, Carrick, let's just imagine it ain't a choice. You're just going to end up with a manager, because it isn't a choice. You're going to get who you're given, right? Mm-hmm. If it ended up being Carrick, I think we'd all be unified behind him. That was my point, right?
Yeah, I believe that as well. Exactly my point. I think fans would get behind him 100%. They really would, because he's ex-West Ham.
It's looking good for Boxing Day, by the way. Spurs fans are leaving Southampton at 4-0 down, lightweights. Is it still? Yeah, it's only half an hour. Bloody hell, it's like us at home to Arsenal, isn't it? Look at Arsenal. They're a bit crap, aren't they, really, in the scheme of things? And we were 4-0 down in half an hour against them. Yeah. I mean, we played the badge, as we always do. Played the badge, got picked apart. Declan Rice ain't having a good season, but he was fabulous against us. Yeah. Yeah. I think Sullivan wouldn't care about Potter going to Wolves. No, of course he wouldn't, because that would narrow his options down to either keep Lopetegui or go for... Yeah. I don't want to say that out loud. So Trev was the nuts. Yeah, he was our most successful, I think statistically, our most successful manager ever. Trevor, he was. If you look at
how many games though, do you know what I mean?
It was about 6 or 7 at the end of the season, then a few in the Championship, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, just before Pardew took over, wasn't it? Yeah.
So have a look. Any more we need to talk about? Carlo Ancelotti is leaving Real Madrid. David Sullivan on high alert. You'll need your big checkbook, Dave.
Oh, yeah, that's not happening.
Carrick hasn't got a good word to say about his time for Spurs. It's right. He fucking hated it there. Dirty Spurs. Couldn't stand it. Couldn't believe he was playing. He probably had to wear a West Ham shirt under the Spurs shirt to stop the crest burning into his skin. That's what.
There's a comment here saying about, Carrick needs to kind of learn his craft and what have you. Right? But I listen, right? I get it, because so he's maybe only managed 3 seasons in the Championship, so he's not an established manager. But we've taken established managers. Do you know what I mean? We've taken established managers. But what we're doing here is we again, hypothetically speaking, we're talking about a manager that has got the ability to improve and grow and develop, right? So I'm not saying let's all go in for Carrick, by the way. I'm just saying I do think he is definitely a manager that I could see the fans really.
Yeah. I think if he came here, we'd want him. Apparently, Sullivan is getting cold feet on it because he'd have to pay Middlesbrough a few quid to get him. Go on, what are you doing? What are you doing? So we're struggling with the new tools, right? I've never seen Carrick talk about West Ham. Though might be wrong, but he seems a bit like he isn't. He's nothing like him. He's a very, very meek, sort of humble character. You know, he's not one of these who's into the womanizing and everything. He's happily married for several years. He's a grown up. He was a grown up the way he played football. He was a grown up age 12, Carrick. That's the kind of character you're talking about. Mature. Yeah. Some of you might say boring, but we don't want a stand up comic to be our manager. Just someone that can speak English. West Ham's right. You playing around with it again?
I'm doing anything, mate. I don't know what you're doing.
Is that me? Did I do it?
It's all you, mate. I've not touched
it. Off. Let's take it off. There we go. There we go. Right. Sorry, bear with us. First time we've had this new platform. So right. Anybody rather than Loppy. Easier said than actually done. You wouldn't be saying that, Mark, if we end up getting, for instance.
Don't say it. Don't say it. I know where you're going, mate. It's not happening. Do you know, it's not that. I'm hoping Moyes goes to Wolves in that case. Yeah.
Dougie. No, Dougie. No. Gary O'Neill, no. He's every bit as useless.
Yeah, why are people saying that? I mean, I don't get that one. I don't get that one at all.
Areola didn't have FL Premier experience. No, he didn't. So why the fuck would Carrick not be considered? Sullivan needs to either sell up or leave. Listen, I said this the other day. Sullivan will carry on doing things. He's 75 years old. He's an old dog who's not going to learn any new tricks. He has this belief that for safety's sake, because it's all that matters is staying in the Premier League. So he'll always go for a Premier League manager, preferably a more pragmatic one, because it will guarantee grinding out some results and get that minimum number of points. And anything you get over that is a bonus. And I'm sure that's the way he looks at it. Never met the bloke, but I'm pretty sure, judging by who he's hired, that's the way he looks at it. And that's why we've had probably in the 14 years since they've been here, we've had maybe 9 really, really bad seasons or really crappy, boring seasons and 5 pretty good ones, right? He's made bad decisions on managers. I mean, he said that we asked for Pellegrini. No, we didn't. It's like we didn't ask for Lopetegui either. No, we asked for a progressive manager. And the reason we asked for a progressive manager is because the fans are not idiots. They watch the Premier League week in, week out, and you can see what the other teams are doing. The teams that do well have got bright, young-ish, really, really intelligent managers who can play multiple systems and transition to a different system 2 or 3 times during a typical game. Do things, to stop the opposition, do things to hurt the opposition. He's all that Lopetegui is another form of David Moyes. He's got one playing style and the players fit into that playing style. It doesn't matter if you've got the right piece to go in the right hole. Like Moyes, he'll just play the system irrespective of the parts that are playing that system, and he'll expect them to do it. Even if someone, Somerville, for instance, he has to do this defending lark when he's played out on the left. He's not very good at it, is he? What he's asking Wan-Bissaka to do in get forward, get up and down the pitch 50 times during a game at high speed, he's not really cut out for it, is he? I mean, this one here, Marco Silva was shite for us at Everton. For us, Marco Silva.
He must be an Everton fan, mate.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Right. Sorry, mate, Stephen. I can't hear his accent, but yeah, he's not shit now, though, is he? And he's maybe done his apprentice with you because you've not had good luck with managers, have you? Let's face it. Well, I suspect you'll have better luck when you move to that lovely, lovely, beautiful new stadium. Actually, I'm really jealous of that.
Do you know, just quickly, right? You're talking about our playing style.
Yeah.
Well, obviously Lopetegui's playing style as well. But did you see the interview with Thomas Souček on Sky by any chance?
No, I didn't see it, but I saw his post-match interview last week. What did he say?
Well, so the interviewer was asking him about, the style, what they're trying to do at West Ham, and they, it'd be fair to say that they've really seen, significant improvements as such. And he said that we are changing style, we're changing system, working on it like, every day. And he actually said changing every day. And that kind of alarmed me a bit, like changing every day. What exactly changing every day? Then he said, so what? Then I think the interviewer asked him, what is actually Lopetegui's style? And he said, well, he likes to play an active style. I don't know what the hell that means. Wants to play an active style, pressing the opponent and have more of the ball. Now, I've got to be honest with you. If that's the case, I've not seen the pressing the opponent piece. I've definitely seen the have more of the ball piece without question.
Yeah.
Obviously, the high line, we all know that. So I'm thinking to myself, well, where actually is, because can you actually tell me any games really, Gary, this season? I think there's only maybe one or two where you can say we're really pressing high at the front. I've not seen it, mate. It's always been that mid-block. I've not seen it at all. So I don't really know. And when Souček says things like that, it's making me think, is that really? I mean, what's going wrong here? Because I'm not seeing that on the pitch.
There've been a couple of games where we've played a relative low block. We tried it against Arsenal to start with, right, in the first half, and we got picked apart, didn't we? No, there haven't been any entire games at all. I mean, where we've tried to, tried two different systems. We've just changed the parts at half time. There was that game where it was what was it, where we got slaughtered in the second half because we threw a load of players forward. I forget which one it was, but it was Spurs, wasn't it? Because we were quite good in the first half at Spurs. We were quite happy with it. Came out at half time and literally
changed it.
Ran 8 or 9 players forward. Wan-Bissaka was camped out inside their 18-yard box some of the time. I did miss Kirbishley out earlier because when I think of good ex-West Ham players, Kirbishley ain't one of them. He bored me to tears. He used to put the padlock on when we went 1 or 2-0 up towards the end of the season. He did this at Charlton as well, and again another a pragmatic manager who would have been perfect for the likes of Sullivan and Gold and Brady, because he guaranteed Premier League survival for Charlton every year. And then when it came to about February, he just took his foot off the gas and job done. They're staying up for another season, right? And then they got relegated as soon as they let him go. That is the typical profile of manager that Sullivan dreams of. Wet dream, that is. So Trevor was superb as caretaker before Pards came in. Don't think got many. I don't think anyone's got a better record, Welsh Hammer, than Trevor. Someone can correct me on that. Maybe Zanussi will correct me in the comments because he's good at stats. Sometimes Bowen presses. Look, our press is just not joined up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not joined up, and our defending is not joined up either. It's really, really poor. We need to press. If we're going to press, do a proper cohesive press where everyone's, where someone's leading it and others are joining. But I suppose this is where it's a bit of a problem. Bowen leading it from the right hand side. Mind you, he's going to find himself more in the centre now, isn't he? Honestly, if we don't beat Southampton on Boxing Day, there's something wrong with us in there. We've got to beat them.
I mean, they're awful. They are absolutely awful. But it's the thing is, though, it's like for if you are a team like Southampton, there's going to be the odd game that you're going to be pulling points from. So they're going to be looking at that game and thinking, we've got to get 3 points against West Ham. So
there's a couple of interesting comments here, right? And there's one thing that some people have been saying. I don't agree with this, but Damien D'Amico says, "Oh no, he's having Somerville." Scott Barnard says he's not having Somerville. He's overrated, only scored 1 goal. You can't just measure the contribution of a left winger on his goals. He's also about third choice because he's been played by default because of the unavailability of Kudus and now the unavailability of Antonio. He's been played by default. He was fantastic. This is where Damien's right. He was fantastic and a very different player in the Championship. He was the best player in the Championship, voted last season. He had everything, including finishing. What he's doing at the moment, he doesn't seem to have the confidence to finish off what he starts. So he cuts inside. Whereas he was playing for Leeds, he might cut inside, take a few players on the slot in the far corner. He's cutting inside and looking for a teammate. He needs to have the courage of his convictions.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I really like Somerville. I do. I mean, I've seen glimpses of it, definitely. And you're right. I mean, I've seen clips of him when he was playing for Leeds last season. He was really clinical, very clinical, cutting in on his right. He was great. But I think I want to compare him to Ben Rama, but Ben Rama was quite similar in the sense that when he was playing in the Championship for Brentford, similar goal contributions, assists, goals, a lot.
No. He was consistent. Benrahma was never consistent. Did you watch the playoff semi-finals and the final? I did, because we were being linked with Benrahma. And the final, apparently, for every big game, the guy didn't turn up, and he didn't turn up for that final.
Benny
that we watched, Benny, for Brentford, right? He was pretty poor.
I'm going by goals, assists. I mean, if you see what he was doing in the Championship, Gal, he was exceptional. You know, I think it was him and Ollie Watkins when they're playing for Brentford in the Championship. They were very good. Both of them are very good. They were standout players in the Championship that season when they went up. They were. It's fact.
Yeah, no, they were. They were. But I'm talking about the big games. He didn't turn up, and I think that was a factor with us as well. Like whenever we played Brentford, he was rubbish. Apart from that game in the FA Cup where he scored. Welsh Trev has best record. Trev has his best record of all our managers. So I was right. Thank you, Razor. I knew I was. Never in doubt.
Come on, mate. He only managed about 6 games, though. I mean, I can't believe we're using that as a comparison, because that's crazy.
Yeah, this is interesting, right? Because I mentioned this the other day. I really respect Bowen for what he's doing at the moment. I think he is starting to look like a captain. He's starting to act like a captain. He didn't know how to be a captain. He's just had to do the, play middleman to sort out the beef between Lopetegui and Todibo, right? And now they seem to be talking. He brought him on the other night. That is Bowen's job, to sort out those sort of problems and manage to, be the manager's representative in the changing room. That is what he is effectively. And he speaks confidently to the press. I like him. I love his passion. I love the way he got to grips with that geezer from Wolves the other night. He weren't having any of it, was he? So, pushed him in the chest. Could have been sent off, I guess.
He did go flying, though, didn't he, Bowen, from what I saw? Yeah.
He ain't going to Liverpool. He's the West Ham captain, whose father-in-law is Danny Dyer. Going nowhere, mate. Nowhere. Sorry, I'm late back from watching West Ham's women get battered again. Are they getting battered all the time now, then? Yeah. Yes. I think Loopy has got into their heads and he's scrambled it. Yeah, I don't think the instructions clear. I still don't think they understand the tactics properly. All he does is a lot of shouting that they probably don't understand, shouting instructions out from the byline.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't see the Wolves game, so it's really hard for me to comment in terms of improvement. I can only go by what I've heard and what I've read, and it just seems as though it was a very dire game, not a convincing win. But going back to my point, like I said earlier on, I think it was one of those weird games, considering all the dynamics and the situation around that game. Antonio, jobs on the line, all that kind of stuff. It does happen. I think this will be an interesting one, like tomorrow, because if we really do turn up tomorrow, and again, maybe I'm being a little bit too optimistic here and unrealistic, but if we turned up and we won that game tomorrow, had a convincing performance, who knows? I mean, this is the thing with football. It's so damn fickle. It can turn on a dime, right? It can.
Oh yeah,
it really can.
Yeah. Well,
I hope it does. I want to be totally proven wrong with Lopetegui. I want, there's loads of fans saying, "I remember Arteta when he came to."
Oh, same here as well. Yeah.
I mean, loads of fans are saying this, and I don't. I'll admit, I mean, for the last few weeks, maybe even the last month or two, I've been really pissed off with the style of football we've had under Lopetegui. Of course I have been. It's been really underwhelming in terms of turning up there every single week, watching that dire, drab football. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
But, there is that side. Of course I want him to turn it around. Of course I do. I don't just want us to make a panic change, but I think it all depends. I know I keep saying next game all the time, but if we play really well against Bournemouth and we play really well over the Christmas period, I will be rooting for him going into New Year. Of course I will.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in anything else, but I just can't see it happening. I just can't. I want it so much, but I just can't see it happening because I just think the language barrier, I just don't think whatever he's trying to do is coming across to the players. I just don't think it is. I want to be proven wrong, though. Well, every time I see interviews, every time I see interviews with players, I'm thinking maybe the players are buying into him. But then I watch the interviews and I watch the games. I'm like, no, they're not. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one.
I don't think they are because what's happened here? We've zoomed in. We've zoomed out again. For Christ's sake!
I just changed it. You're clicking things, mate.
No, I'm not. I just got. We will see our 16th formation change tomorrow night. I'll tell you what. The comments are so much bigger. I can actually read them. Brilliant. Yeah. Players must be confused beyond belief. Yes, I think they are. Right, Flynn Downs hat trick on Boxing Day. You probably get good odds on that. It's probably worth a tenner.
I think you'd get amazing odds on that. He scored 1 goal all season, mate. I don't think he's got about 1 goal in the last 3 seasons. So I don't think that's going to happen somehow.
Is he part of the problem there, or is he just is he making them actually a little bit better than they otherwise?
No, I think every player's going to be part of a problem. But I think he's probably been one of the better players for them, from what I've understood. So
yeah,
I just think they're a poor team.
Okay. My girlfriend supports Celtic. She's on cloud 9 after their cup final win today. I'm a West Ham fan, so I'm really looking forward to this season. Well, the FA Cup win, Kev. The FA Cup win. What's this, Razor? Moyes would call. Oh, Moyes, yeah, would cause the biggest protest you've ever seen, more than Burnley even running away. So, yeah, I mean that just would be so amazing, amazingly tone deaf for him to do that. Sullivan doesn't want to stay in the Premier. Yes, he does. Beyond anything else, don't no.
Of course, he wants to stay in the Premier
Yeah.
League. It doesn't matter where, as long as he stays in the Premier League. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I believe. I believe he's playing in the Lopetegui system the way he understands it, Somerville. Whereas really, him and Kudus, Kudus the other night had some chances to turn inside, to take a player on. Last season, you got to say, he would have taken that opportunity. Whereas now he's looking to cross the ball. He's not looking to pop a shot away at goal. So maybe he's been told that on the other side as well. I think there's too much of a coincidence for me, Benny had balls of steel with a it was a beautiful moment, wasn't it? A beautiful moment, and I got nothing against Benny at all. Moyes spoke out against him to say he was disruptive in the dressing room, by the way. So he's obviously I love him now.
Yeah.
Yes, David, you were blessed to watch in the 70s. Old and new players were West Ham. Yeah. But times move on, don't they? I watched West Ham in the 70s as well, and it was a fantastic time, amazing time to watch football. But I'd bring back I'd scrap all of modern football. I'd scrap it all.
Oh, me too. We've had this conversation so many times. I think it's just not the same anymore, is it? It's really not the same. Yeah.
By the way, if you want to join our Facebook group, scan that QR code. Unless you're watching on your phone, then there's no way of scanning that QR code.
Oh, you can screenshot it. You can screenshot and use Google Lens after.
Play it back. Yeah. But anyway, just another feature. Right, so let's have a look at the comments. See if there's anything else we've got. It's come up again. I didn't turn it on. Why has it come up again?
I am not touching a thing here, Gary. I don't know if you're getting trigger happy or what, but it's not me.
No. I go to a completely different section, right? So I'm going to go back to the comments. Right. Okay. I probably need to open this up a bit so as I've got the normal interface. I think I'm screwing around with it here. Right. Okay. Maybe it'll work better like this. So I had it all kind of crumped together. You're
like a kid with a new toy at Christmas, aren't you? Playing around with all the buttons.
Too many new gadgets. We have our midfielders on 4 yellows going into the Bournemouth game. Suchek, Keta, Soler, Rodriguez. I was trying. Thanks for telling me that, Rob, because I was trying to look for that information before the game. Yeah, and I got otherwise moved. Osterwald, no. Has Fulkrug got another mystery injury? Well, no, he hasn't. He's fit. He's
on the bench. He's on the bench. Yeah,
he was on the bench last week. Yeah. If he's not on the bench and getting game time tomorrow, there's something funny going on.
Do you think he's saving him? Do you think he was saving him for this game?
No,
maybe not playing him.
I don't reckon so. Maybe.
I don't even know what he's thinking, Gary. This is the thing.
We can get inside his head. What would be going on inside his head? It'd be a load of white noise.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so let's focus back on the Bournemouth game tomorrow, right? What do you think the lineup's going to be? Because honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he does some weird and wacky change. It just would not surprise me the slightest. Nothing surprises me anymore with Lopetegui. I think he just decides it 5 minutes before kickoff sometimes, mate. Honestly, I really do.
I think if Muttley's right, and we win the next 3 games, then we've got, in all common decency, we've got to stop asking for Lopetegui's head, right?
Of course we have. Yeah, of course we have. We're suddenly starting to look at Europe, mate, if we win the next 3.
You can't just have a bee in your bonnet and ignore everything that goes on. If the team suddenly starts playing well, always got to consider the latest evidence, haven't you? Always.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Latest evidence was crap last week, so I'm still wanting him out at the moment.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Of course. I mean, that's exactly my point earlier on. If he does that, of course I'm going to be rooting for him. Of course I will be. 3 wins on the bounce. That'd be amazing. Then, going into the Liverpool and City games, not that we'd get anything out of that, but you'd just be on a bit of a high. But I just can't see it happening. But if it did, of course I'd be behind him. No question. But I just don't understand the guy. I don't understand him. I'm just hoping that over the next few games, maybe we start to get some kind of semblance of actually, all right, I get what he's trying to do here, but
Sharky, have you just noticed that money is all clubs care about? That's all the FA cares about. That's all football cares about. It's run by Sky, for God's sake, for money. Chelsea will be a new city for a few years now. They do look good. I don't want to see Declan Rice go and join them. Imagine that if he joined them and got good again. No. I hope he goes abroad now. Get out.
I've got to put this comment up. Got to put this comment up, Gal. Where is it? Go on, here it is. You doing TikTok videos, Gary?
Well, we'll be. I've done. So, I'll put a couple up, but this is a work in progress, right?
But just to clarify, chat, it's not Gary doing dances. Well, it depends actually, because maybe in the chat, if you want to see Gary doing some dances on TikTok,
you've got a few dance videos up though. You've got a very, very popular.
There's no dances on mine. No, I'm intrigued to see what the chat is saying. Would you like to see Gary doing some TikTok dances?
Look, so you ain't getting any.
Come on, mate! It's Christmas. Come on.
But no, it's one of the many accounts that we're going to be. What we're going to be doing is streaming to multiple platforms. That's why we've moved to a new platform. So yeah, that will happen. This is just tonight. We're doing it only on YouTube, just to check that YouTube still works. It does. Other than me having this the wrong way around and some ghost kept putting up comments that I didn't ask for. Right, I blame Chris. It doesn't matter who played his system, full stop. Well, yeah, it's true. But if suddenly, because the players he had at Seville could play that system, that team he inherited, he was lucky because they could play the system. And then as soon as he had to go out and buy new players to come in to carry on playing the system is when he lost it at Seville, right? He went to Real Madrid. Those players didn't understand the system either. Nobody fucking understands the system. He must have got so lucky at Seville, mustn't he? I wouldn't want anyone to go Chelsea either, but they do look young, vibrant, and got all their ducks in a row. They do look brilliant, unfortunately. They do.
What have you done, Gal?
See, someone's put, you can actually have the live comments coming up. Or is that you? No,
I'm not doing that. I'll tell you one I do like, though. This is the one I do like, Gal. I want to see Gary doing the worm. I want to see Gary doing the worm.
Put me back out, James. Put me back out doing the worm.
I want to see you doing the worm.
You want to see me get hurt?
Oh, we got to see you doing the worm, mate. Come on.
Lineups. Right, let's have your lineups for tomorrow. So my lineup, Chris, would be. I'm assuming that Emerson is available now because he's banned last game, isn't he?
I think he is, yeah. I think he is available for this one, yeah. Right.
So it would be Emerson, left back, Wan-Bissaka, right back. It would be Todibo and Kilman in the middle because Mavropanos is just a liability, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Then
how was he against Wolves? Sorry to interject there, but how was he against Wolves? Was he terrible? Was he?
Yeah, he played him on side for their goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking the other game? No, he made a lot of mistakes against Wolves. Put it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Always does. But then again, Todibo makes mistakes as well, but not as many in my mind and not as vital as. You know what this is?
This is hilarious.
You know what this is? You know what this is? I've got two mice alive here, right? There's a mouse. There's another mouse over here. I'm going to turn this mouse off. Bloody Apple mouse.
This is brilliant. That's what it's doing. It's got a mind of its own, Gary. It's clicking on all kinds. Yeah.
So I've got too many mice on the go. That's what it is. So yes. So that would be my defence. In midfield, I'd probably play Soler, and Souček, and Paqueta.
Jesus.
Yeah. There's gremlins in the system because I wasn't actually touching anything there. It just happened, right? We do have a rogue administrator in there, though, don't we? Is that Matt? Is Matt doing it?
It might be Cupcake. I don't know. It's
Cupcake playing with it.
Matt? One of the two.
Yeah. I can see Matt's face. Matt's happy, smiling face. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Is it you? Is it you changing this around, Matt? Are you giving us? Yeah. So that's the three I'd have in midfield. It's an away game. We've got to grind it out. Make sure Souček is.
So, what's your free midfield, Gal?
Well, I'd say Soler, Paqueta, and Souček, but I would play Souček furthest forward and get him to do a lot of running around, shutting down, trying to break up. I'd try to have Paqueta and Soler as the kind of creative base in that midfield because they played really well together. The one time we had a functional midfield, and I don't want to give up on that experiment because I think it's the best we've seen so far this season. I think the front three, for me, can pick itself because I don't think it's going to be Füllkrug. If it was my choice, I'd play Füllkrug in the middle. I'd play Bowen on the right. I'd play Somerville on the left. Yeah, I'll play Somerville on the left, and then I'll swap Kudus out for. Ignore what I just said. I'd swap Kudus out for Souček. So I'd have Soler, Paqueta, Kudus, and then up top I'd have Füllkrug in the middle, Bowen right, Somerville left. That's what I'd have. So yeah.
So I'm hearing there is no Emerson based on the chat, right? So apparently he's picked up his 5th, so he's still banned for this game, right? So with that being the case, that's quite concerning because that means that presumably he's going to stick with Wan-Bissaka playing at left back, I would imagine, because that seems to be his kind of default mode if Emerson's not playing. So I'm guessing Wan-Bissaka is going to play on the left. It's going to be Soufal, isn't it, at right back?
Yeah.
And then, well, here's the thing, because the Todibo situation, I don't know whether that's repaired itself or what. I mean, he came on for what, about a minute or two? You know, the Wolves game apparently came right on at the end, didn't he? So is he going to start the game?
No,
I don't know.
No, he won't. He won't.
I'm trying to go with what I think. What I think the manager will do is I think he'll stick Fabianski in goal. I would imagine that he'll play Wan-Bissaka left back now that we know that obviously Emerson's not available. I reckon Soufal will play right back. I can see obviously Kilman goes in, you know, by default. I want Todibo. I've got bad feelings he's going to stick Mavropanos in there, Gal, just purely because I don't know what the fuck's going on there. And then I would imagine in midfield, I think my midfield would be similar to yours, actually. You're talking about dropping Alvarez, essentially, if you're playing that 2 in midfield and, you know, Souček playing slightly more advanced. I would play the same midfield as you, but I'd be alternating and switching it a little bit every now and again. You know, getting Paqueta further up and then getting Souček to drop and doing the same with Soler, because I think they did work quite well and they were doing that. I think from memory, was it against is it the Newcastle game? They were doing that quite well. Yeah. And I would also play Somerville, you know, and I would play Bowen on the right, although I can't see that happening. I think it's going to be Kudus on the right, and I think it's going to be Bowen up top. That's going to be my prediction for it tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. All right. Well, look, let's leave it there. And I mean, this I think is the team it's going to be.
Areola back in, yeah?
Yeah, I forgot about Alvarez as well, don't I?
Why is Areola suddenly coming back in then?
Well, no, it won't be Areola. It'll be Fabianski. The rest of it will be that.
AWB, Mavropanos, Todibo, Kilman. So what we playing? Mavropanos right?
No Emerson.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. So presumably, if you go back to that chat, that comment again, Gal, you're talking about playing Mavropanos, presumably at right back then, if we're doing that.
Matt, leave the comments alone a minute. Hang on. Right. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think, I can't even see where that comment is now, to be honest with you. No. But here we go. It's this one here. It's this one here, Gal. Sorry. It's this one here, right? So if you're playing that, Damien, you're talking about presumably playing Mavropanos at right back. Yeah, because there is no...
I'll be all right with that. Actually, because AWB's all right as left back without no problem at all.
I'd rather Mavropanos play than Soufal. I would. Yeah, I definitely would. But Alvarez, for me, don't know. I think Souček deserves to start with the way he's been playing. And do you know what? Just a bit of kudos to Souček as well. Some people get like saying that goal was crap the other day. I don't know what game. I thought that was a really good goal. He weren't trying to play that across goal, was he? That was a looping header.
Fantastic header.
That's a bloody hard goal to score. That it is really hard goal to score.
Yeah. But I mean, again, just finish on one note because I don't want to be misunderstood here, right? Based on the evidence we've seen so far, I want to see the manager gone. If we see new evidence that can make us reevaluate, and I'm not talking for one game, I'm talking for a run of games.
yeah.
Then you'd have to look again. You'd owe it to him to bloody look again, wouldn't you? Because otherwise, you're just a bit of a child who wants your own way.
That's exactly what I was saying. Okay, if he can win the next 3 on the bounce, of course, I'll be more than okay. Yeah. As long as he doesn't shithouse 3 wins, if they're good performances, you can see some changes with regards to how we're playing. Then of course, but. Yeah, not off the basis of what I've seen so far. I want him gone. Yeah, of course I do.
If he's that lucky, maybe he could shit out an FA Cup as well.
Could you imagine? Fucking hell. Wow. That'd be incredible. What's your prediction, mate, on score tomorrow? Go on.
I think we're going to get soundly beaten. 3-1. What about
3-1.
You? Give us your predictions.
I've noticed that you're taking my 3-1 prediction quite a lot recently. 3-1.
Well, it's never worked out once.
It hasn't, yeah.
No, I'm mugging myself off, really.
You kind of are. I'm going to go 2-1 Bournemouth. I can't see us winning tomorrow. I'm going to say 2-1. But maybe if we get a bit of lucky, then maybe 2-2. But I reckon it's going to be 2-1 to Bournemouth.
Yeah. Okay. Let's leave it there. let's leave it there. So let's take that bloody ticker off. This is doing my nutting now.
It's very interesting, to be honest with you. All those changes and
hide that. And yes, so look, if you haven't seen the show that I put out midweek, you won't be familiar with the new style outro, which is magnificent. Music selected by Cupcake in the who's one of the moderator. That's Claire. She's a mean cupcake, not a nice cupcake. Right. and you know, she did that. She chose the intro music as well. She chose both, actually, didn't we? Because you and Matt were kind of AWOL, weren't you? You were AWOL. You got a little bit of feedback, but not much. But I must admit, this little sort of ska reggae number.
I love it. I love the outro music. I love it.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So let's do that then.
Whilst you're doing that, Gal, whilst you're playing that outro music, because people won't be able to see you, I can assure you, Gary will be doing the worm in the background. I
will be doing.
You won't be able to see it
for sure.
Yeah.
Until next time. See you soon. Come on, you irons.